from Washington, this is VOA News. EU leaders support additional arms for Kurdish fighters in Iraq, and Ebola deaths reportedly top 1,100. I'm Vincent Bruce reporting from Washington. Friday, European Union governments agreed to support individual country decisions to arm Kurdish fighters taking on Islamist State militants in Iraq. They also offered strong backings for the new Iraqi government. From Paris, Lisa Bryant has more for VOA on the outcome of an EU foreign ministers' meeting.
Meeting in Brussels on Friday, the European Union foreign ministers endorsed decisions by individual EU members to send weapons to Iraqi Kurds who are fighting well-armed Islamic State fighters. Speaking after the talks, French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius expressed satisfaction with the results. For his part, British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond said London would consider favorably a request to supply arms to Kurdish forces. He also predicted the United Nations Security Council will adopt a resolution pushed by Britain that threatens sanctions against those who finance and otherwise support the Islamist insurgency. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Samantha Power, says the resolution shows the Council's sense of urgency about the matter and said the Islamic militants are a grave threat to the region and the international community. The Pentagon says Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has assured U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel that no Russian military personnel are part of a humanitarian convoy that is being inspected at the Ukraine border. Pentagon Press Secretary Rear Admiral John Kirby said Friday the two discussed the situation in Ukraine by phone on Friday. Meanwhile, Russia is denying reports that a column of Russian military vehicles crossed into eastern Ukraine late Thursday and was destroyed by Ukrainian troops. Jamie Detmer has more.
Ukraine's president said Friday his country's armed forces had destroyed part of a Russian military column that had crossed the border in an escalation of the conflict over Ukraine's breakaway eastern regions. The self-styled Prime Minister for the rebel Donetsk People's Republic, Alexander Zarchenko, told VOA the claim is untrue and that pro-Moscow separatists hit a Ukrainian military column, seizing weapons in the clash. Jamie Detmer, VOA News, Donetsk.
The World Health Organization says the number of people who have died from Ebola in West Africa has risen to 1,145. Doctors Without Borders President Joanne Liu has just returned from West Africa. She said it felt like wartime as she visited the affected countries.
I really had the feeling that it is like a wartime in terms of fear, general fear all over where you are. Nobody not understanding what's going on.
Liu predicted it would take about 6 months to get the epidemic under control. The WHO says the overall number of Ebola cases has risen to more than 2,100. Thousands of anti-government protesters gathered in the Pakistani capital, Islamabad, late Friday to protest the government of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. The protests, led by opposition leader Imran Khan and Muslim cleric Tahir al-Qadri, constitute the biggest challenge yet to Mr. Sharif's year-old government. Khan and Qadri say the government is corrupt. In Mogadishu, heavy fighting broke out Friday between Somali government forces supported by African Union troops and a militia loyal to a former warlord. Security officials say more than 10 people died in the fighting. For VOA, Mohammed Yusuf has a report.
Residents in the Wadajir neighborhood of southwest Mogadishu were awakened Friday by heavy gunfire.
This is a normal, ongoing operation.
Canon Ali Aden Humed, a spokesman for the African Union Force, AMISOM, told VOA his troops and Somali forces were trying to secure an arms cage near the home of former warlord Ahmed Hassan Ado when Ado's militia attacked.
So what happened is when we tried to to counter that target he had. Some militias fired on AMISOM troops.
The ex-warlord, also known as Ahmed Dai, told VOA's Somali service the clashes began when government forces attacked his home before dawn. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Nairobi.
Police in the U.S. state of Missouri say the unarmed black teenager whose shooting death by a police officer sparked days of protests was a robbery suspect. The police chief of the town of Ferguson, Thomas Jackson, identified the officer who shot and killed Brown as Darren Wilson, a 6-year veteran of the force with no disciplinary record. I'm Vincent Bruce in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.